All right. A little bit different podcast this time. I think this is the first time we've sat down and recorded a podcast not that's an interview. Is it? I think it is. Like, actually sat down and not videotaped it and done a podcast, strictly...
No, we've
Braun
done it
Strowman.
before. Yeah, we've done it before.
Okay, so it's the first time with the new
First
equipment.
time we've done that with a third person, though.
Yeah, so if you hadn't figured it out, which there's no way you can, Taylor's here.
Hello, everybody.
On the podcast today. And we're going to kind of recap what's going on with the UFC and a little bit of WWE with Brock Lesnar. Stuff's in a weird position with everybody right now. Well, really just Brock and John Jones are the only two that's weird. But before we do all that with Brock, got a good fight coming up. UFC 223, April 7th.
Which is, by the way, probably going to be the best weekend ever.
Yeah,
because
it's going to
we
be.
have WrestleMania the next day.
The very next day is April 8th is WrestleMania. April 7th is the UFC fight.
We will be watching both of them. We may or may not have a cookout before.
We're planning on it, but nobody. Sorry, well, if some people listening might be invited. You never know. If Dalton's listening and Heath, they're invited, and anybody else that
Message us on Twitter.
Yeah, message. Our Twitter messages are open. Messages. So, but we got the fight coming up with Tony Ferguson and Khabib, and I'd say it's probably it's up there with DC and Stipe as the most talked about fight going on right now. Wouldn't y'all say?
I'm more excited about it than the Stipe one.
Yeah,
that's a bold opinion.
I'd say in the MMA community, it's probably the most talked about.
I think this is the perfect fight because you got two guys who like. The problem with the UFC a lot of the times is okay. We don't have Conor on it. We don't have Nate Diaz on it. We don't have Stipe or DC on it. What are we gonna do? This one is like the first time where we don't have a bona fide superstar on either side, and everybody wants to see it. Which means these guys are about to be superstars.
Yeah, the winner of this is going to fight Conor. So
and that doesn't hurt.
Take it how you want. Somebody's about to be.
I think a lot of people only want to see it for that. I want to see this fight just because I want to see these two guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's what I am.
Yeah. I mean that's just added bonus.
I think it's a good matchup.
The fact that whoever wins is going to fight Conor is to me just that's a nice little extra thing to it. That just makes this card even better.
Yeah, I think when you watch Khabib fight, he's so good and he's never lost. And when you watch Tony fight, he's so good. And I mean, he has lost a few times, but I think the level of competition that they both have, that we'll really get to see, I think, who's the best.
Yeah, I think it's like you got one guy who hasn't lost, and you got one guy who his opponents are probably a little bit more respected, but he has lost, so they're almost even to me.
Yeah, I would definitely say these guys are not even a question about it. These are the two top 55ers in the world. Like, it's not even – that's not – I mean –
Conor's kind of taking himself out of the mix. Like,
yeah,
so you can't say
he's
him,
out of the
and
mix
you can't
right
say
now.
he's not. You can't say either way.
I mean, he is technically until that bell rings on April 7th, he's the champion. And I mean, until that bell rings, he's the champion because if you go to the UFC's website, they haven't stripped him yet. So I mean, he's still the champion.
They're scared to do it too because they're like, we don't want to keep him happy.
Well, I mean, I guess another reason is, I mean, let's say like Khabib doesn't make weight. I guess you could just call Conor up and be like, hey, defending the belt right now.
I'm sure he's thought about that.
Well, I mean, he tweeted out yesterday. He was like, "I stay ready" or something like that. So I mean, I guess he's sitting there predicting. I'm taking that as like he's telling the UFC like, "Hey, if somebody backs out, I'm ready to go."
And
like,
Khabib has done that a couple dozen times.
He's notorious for doing that. He does it all the time.
He weighs a little bit too much.
He should just move up, really.
They say he walks around at 205 and cuts to 155 to fight. So
I weigh like 185, and I don't think I could cut that much. Like, I don't know how he does that.
They say he cuts over 50 pounds to fight sometimes. He's done it before. They say his last fight he cut 53 pounds to fight.
That's just like, why don't you just go to 170? Like,
that's what I don't get it.
It's kind of stupid.
But I mean, he 24-0. I wouldn't be doing it either.
If they make that 165, he'll probably just do that.
That'd be the catch weight. Yeah, that'd be perfect for him.
Because that'd be like 10 pounds less, and that'd just like it.
But he's
only going over about 2 or 3 pounds anyway, so that'd be an easy fit.
You got Tony Ferguson. He's 33 years old. He's 23-3. Khabib's 28. He's 24-0. And Khabib's young. They can make a superstar out of Khabib.
I think both these guys. I mean, I don't really like Tony Ferguson. I think he's kind of cheesy, but I know a lot of people do, and he gets a reaction from me. It's not that it doesn't matter if I like him or not like him. I want to see him fight, whether I want to see him lose or win. It's like
just like Conor. That's why
Conor, Floyd Mayweather, all these guys, even Brock.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people just want to see him lose.
Most people want to see John Jones. Well, I don't know about now, but
I'm about tired of him.
I don't know about now.
I like John Jones a lot, but I'm not really. I like watching him fight. He's like my favorite fighter to watch. Probably. It's just like, can we just not have any controversy?
Can you stay
for once?
clean, man?
Like,
yeah.
But
I think this fight, you got Khabib, who is an animal. Like, I mean, a freaking animal.
Like, it's definitely gonna be a styles
he
clash.
pounces and
it
he
is,
doesn't stop until that bell
it's
rings.
Scary.
And the ref makes
yeah,
him
it's
stop.
like
he's so aggressive.
Go back and watch his fights, and it's like the guys' faces when he's fighting them. They're just sitting there like, "What And what is going on right
Did
now?
I really
Like,
sign up for this?
Like how aggressive he is. It's like, I mean, he does have skills. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm saying like even if you didn't have any skills and fought like that, you're gonna win some fights because it's just such a, just like you're just pouncing on people.
Yeah.
And they could be really even better fighter than you, but that style is just so rewarding. In
he
some
just he
instances.
gets people on the ground, and it's like it doesn't matter what they do, they can't get up. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
he pressures constantly.
unless he lets you up, which he doesn't really do. Like Edison Barboza, like Joe Rogan said it best. Like that dude is a world class kicker. Like he's knocked people out with multiple times with his kicks. Like he's won multiple fights by KO with his feet. He's done it multiple times. He didn't win a round.
When you watch that fight back, it's like he doesn't let people like get that separation that they need if they fight a style like,
You know, Khabib-
which is literally everybody's fault who doesn't do what he does. He just doesn't. He doesn't let them close the distance.
You know,
like,
Khabib in the UFC's never even lost a round. Think about that.
When
He's
you fight
never
like
lost.
that-
He's never lost a round.
That's pretty strong. The only problem is what is he going to do whenever things aren't going his way? Because he hasn't really. I know there was a one fight where he got tagged, but like
He's been tagged by Michael Johnson. He got wobbled once.
that's just part of the.
He got freaking a little bit starry one freaking time.
Yeah, he basically hasn't like really fought. That's
He's
the
never
only
faced
thing.
adversity ever.
When he fights
Yeah.
somebody like Tony that actually, and I think. What are you guys' prediction for the fight?
I think.
Khabib.
I think Khabib too.
I think Khabib wants it. I think this is interesting because I think Khabib wants it on the ground and Tony wants it on the ground. So I feel like the fans are going to be really disappointed in this fight because I feel like it's going to go to the ground and stay on. Neither guy's really a world class striker. I'd say Tony's a better striker.
Yeah,
Number one, he's got a 6-inch reach, right there.
That's another reason I think Khabib will win though, because I feel like he's just gonna like have his like he's so tall and lanky. I feel like he's just gonna leave himself open in his middle part of his body, and like Khabib's just gonna keep just.
I
I think
think
how
enough.
Tony is a little cheesy. He wants to take it to the ground because everybody talks about Khabib on the ground, so he wants them.
yeah.
He wants Khabib to take him to the ground. The
I
problem
think-
is once he gets him there, I think he'll realize this is not where I actually want
well,
him to be.
Tony Ferguson is a legitimate world class jiu-jitsu fighter. Like he's world class jiu-jitsu. I mean, he choked out Kevin Lee with a freaking triangle. Number 4 ranked 55er in the world. He choked him out with a triangle.
And his cardio is crazy. Like we were talking about that the other night. I heard
Who was it? It was Chael Sonnen.
It was Chael Sonnen talking about that, and we watched like before we usually do these, we'll watch a couple of their fights and all that, and every one that we could find. Like there's a couple of free fights of his on the UFC.
He
YouTube
doesn't get
page.
tired.
He just like doesn't get.
Chael Sonnen was saying that they'll have their all-day practice. All day long, they'll do their all-day practice.
Khabib will?
Talking about Tony Ferguson.
Oh, Tony?
They used to
Okay.
train together. Chael Sonnen was saying that they'd have their all-day freaking practice, and then at the end, when everybody's like throwing up in trash cans, Tony Ferguson will pick like 4 or 5 guys to come in with him and just do live fights, and he'll rotate them in and out.
He'll be like in the middle, and he'll keep like challenging the next guy.
when
and then that
when one guy gets gassed, he'll freaking send him out and bring a fresh guy in until they all get gassed. Then he'll go to the bags and finish off in the bags till he gets tired.
That's like some crazy. That's like the Michael Jordan stories where he would like switch teams, like whenever he'd practice or whatever, and like
Yeah.
and then he'd have to like just start trying to beat the team he was just playing on. I don't know. It reminded me of that for some reason.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's insane. That's like better cardio than the Diaz brothers, which is unbelievable.
I don't know. I
cardio.
wouldn't say better. I'd say just a different kind. Those Diaz, they're animals.
I mean, those guys runs decathlons. What? Who runs decathlons?
In their fights, they don't get tired. Like, and I know like neither does Tony, but like I've seen a lot more of the Nate fights, and he just is an animal.
They are just like
That's another person that it's a really hot topic in this whole thing. You know, like Nate Diaz is kind of taking himself with Conor. They each have kind of taken themselves out of the picture for a while.
well, Nate is doing it absolutely ridiculously. Nate's doing it. He's doing the thing where he's like, I'm not fighting unless it's Conor. Like you're banking on a guy who just made $100 million to come back for you to be, and then they got to hand select you. They might want him to. They're obviously going to make him fight the winner of this fight. So
Yeah.
you're not fighting him his first comeback.
I think it's a great idea.
The
though.
thing
I
is,
think
I
it's-
don't know if he's a better fighter technically than either of those two. I think he
He has a
thinks
style matchup.
he is. Yeah, he has a style.
I think he has the number to beat Conor better than these two, though. Except for Khabib. I feel like Khabib would just
Now,
wrestle him.
Khabib, if he can,
I don't think
Khabib-
Tony will beat Conor.
Khabib dictates the fight.
Now, I think if Tony wins, I think Conor can. When you watch the Kevin Lee fight, and I don't know if it's because he knew he could beat Kevin Lee, because Kevin Lee was just so depleted with staph and he was on antibiotics, and I don't know if he knew he could beat Kevin Lee or not, but he just would leave his chin open a lot. Like I feel like he just left his game wide open, and you can't. When Conor's been training boxing like he's been doing, I don't think you can leave yourself open against Conor. But Khabib, I think's a horrible matchup for Conor.
Yeah, that's been my whole
But
thing.
my prediction, I didn't even give my prediction on the fight when you asked it. I think Khabib will take it to the ground, and I think Tony Ferguson wants to go to the ground with it. But I think I really feel like Tony's just gonna catch him somewhere like in an arm bar, like a rear naked choke or something.
He'll make a
I don't think he'll catch him
mistake.
in some.
You think he'll win though? Like you
I think Tony will catch Khabib just because his jiu-jitsu's good enough. I think he'll catch him in a submission. I don't think he's gonna like tag Khabib and knock him out. Like I don't think that's
All
happening.
right, that's fair. I kind of was hoping we'd have a split. I knew I was gonna pick Khabib. I thought you probably would.
Yeah, I really do like Khabib.
The thing is, I almost kind of hope Khabib wins because, like, I feel like if Tony wins, I just don't think he'll be able to beat Conor or even make it like. I feel like Conor like will just hit him with that. Like everybody's been saying, he leaves his chin open. And I've been watching some of his fights. And I think that will happen.
Yeah, I think
we'll get a better fight with Khabib versus Conor because it'll be a styles.
It'll be a clash of a style. Which I mean, and I will say to Conor's credit, I will say whenever he had to face Chad Mendes, everybody was like, "Oh, here it is. He's facing the wrestler." Now Chad Mendes is a little tiny guy compared to
this guy's
little.
This guy's like 135.
But I mean, Chad
Mendes, like the thing is, he can wrestle, but like that's not what. He's not gonna make you do that. You know what I mean? Like Khabib, if he wants you to go to the ground, he's gonna make you go to the ground, and he's gonna keep you there.
Yeah.
And the problem is Conor. I don't know if he better if
Connor's
if
not
Khabib
good.
wins.
Connor's not good on the ground, but his takedown defense is good.
He's really hard to. He's like shifty. Like you can hit like one side of him, but he won't let you hit the middle of his body to take him down. Like he can kind of shrug it off.
Yeah, you gotta like his takedown defense is good. It's just I think he struggles when he gets down there, but. I don't know. I think this.
And a lot of times when guys try to take him down, he'll just crack him, and then that'll be the end of the fight. Like that's happened a couple times.
This fight to me is just. I think it's the best style matchup in the UFC. Like I think DC and Stipe is good, but I think this is just. Tony Ferguson and Khabib is just a matchup. It's not like nothing else.
This is perfect. This is like for people that, and I wouldn't call us purists at all. We're like the casual fans who like watch WWE and this, and we kind of are starting to get in the UFC more and more. But I think this is like the best. Because trust me, a lot of people don't like the money fight era. I love the money fight era. I think it's the greatest thing ever.
Oh, but WME's changing the whole game.
Dude,
like when they come in, they said, and I mean I understand. And listen, I get the fighter's perspective. It's absolutely ridiculous because they're just literally ignoring rankings. Like they're just ignoring them blatantly.
But not this time though.
Like not this time. They're doing it right this time.
But for the most part, they're like
like Stipe and DC.
See, that fight, listen, I just said I'm a big advocate for the money fighter. I love the Conor versus Floyd. I love the Brock's going to come back and fight somebody he
John Jones
shouldn't be
something
fighting.
like that.
I like it. John Jones like gets a slap on the wrist every time because he's a big draw. I love it. We're getting better stuff. But the DC versus Stipe, I just don't get it. I don't even think it's that good of a money fight. I think it'll draw really good, but I think you're going to have two of our champions are fighting. One of them's guaranteed going to look bad. I think it'll be DC.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, you have Stipe, who has no mic skills.
None.
He won't hype up the fight. I mean, I don't even know if he'll tweet out the fight.
No, he won't.
Yeah, and then you got DC, who the only time he ever talks bad about somebody is to John Jones, and he's not fighting John Jones.
Like he'll sit there and talk about how good of a friend, like when he fought Volkan or whatever his name is, Volkov.
Everybody knows.
Yeah, he was sitting there like this guy's a great fighter. Like,
stop doing that.
This
dude.
is the guy I want to see. You're about to get in there and fist fight this man. Like I want to hear you. Like I want to hear you have a problem with him.
Yeah, it doesn't give you that competitive edge. Like I really want to beat him. If you're sitting there talking about, oh, he's a good friend, I train with him and stuff. Like it's just like you're just fighting. Like if I was fighting one of you guys, like
and then he's even said, and then he even publicly said if he's like if I beat Stipe and like let's say he beats Stipe and wins the title, he's even said if Cain Velasquez is next in line, he'll just drop the belt.
See, that's stupid. He's
like, I'm not fighting my training partner. He won't fight him. He's not going to fight his training partner. He's like, I will literally drop the belt so Cain Velasquez can get it.
That's so stupid. Like,
why?
Then don't fight for the belt. I'd rather you just fight him. I'm going to pay for it regardless. I'd rather you just fight him and be like, listen, this is my intentions, and I'm not fighting him, but I want to fight him to see if I can beat him.
Yeah, just make it an exhibition. Go. Well, then you could have your champion not really.
Well, then if you have your champion lose an exhibition.
Yeah.
Well, now it's like, oh my God, like.
And now we're talking about, okay, well, now we have to have like DC, and if he wins, he either has to drop the title, or we don't want to do that. Okay, now he holds two belts. Now we got a Conor situation. He's going to have to defend the heavyweight belt. Hopefully he loses. We'll put him with somebody we think that'll beat him, and then they can get the belt off of him. But what if he wins?
39 years old.
The man, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, like
there's a possibility we could have a 39-year-old with two belts that has to fight two weight classes.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Dude, you can't be that active.
And once he goes up to heavyweight, it's going to be hard to go back
possible.
down to light heavyweight too, unless he just does like.
Well, he already can't make weight.
That's
He
what I'm
already
saying.
can't.
Especially when he's like, oh, now I can put on 20 pounds. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, and he wants to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he
Because
already
he wants
has
to be a heavyweight. I don't think he wants to go in there like 210 or 215 or something like
That
that.
would be a bad idea.
He
That's
already
another
has-
reason why I think Stipe, this is a bad matchup.
He already
for him.
has to weigh in at 205 completely nude. He can't. He doesn't even wear like his tight spandex. He can't even wear that, like the stuff that's not even like
Like the nylon.
like a
stuff.
half an ounce or
Yeah,
whatever
I was
it
about to
is.
say, it doesn't even weigh that
He can't
much.
even wear that because he'll be overweight.
Yeah.
Is how close he's.
And
cutting
they
it.
already said he does. Like,
And then that one time they had the towel up and he was like pushing on the towel a little bit
Yeah,
to
dude.
pull like half a pound up off the scale, and he almost got flagged for it.
Did you watch that?
Yeah, that was 206 point
It's
whatever.
actually a tactic they use in wrestling sometimes.
But it's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I'm sure he'll end up dropping the 205 belt at some point.
I'm sure he'll just lose against Stipe. I think it'll just be a bad matchup, and I think Stipe's too big for him.
yeah, I think
Way too big. Way too big.
Like, I've heard a lot of people try to justify it, like, oh no, like, you know, Stipe, DC's in this fight. Now, I'm not saying he's not in it. I don't think it'll be like a knockout or like a early ending. I just don't think he'll be able to like do what he
I
wants
think
to
it'll
do.
be 5 rounds and he'll go to a decision. I don't think you're knocking out DC, and you're not taking him to the ground and just doing whatever you want. I don't care how big you are or how strong you are.
Yeah, it'd have to be some super freak like Brock Lesnar type to really take DC down.
That's
Well, unless you're John Jones. Well, he's the same way. He's pretty much like a physical freak of nature.
Yep.
So, yeah.
John Jones, first person to ever take down Daniel Cormier.
But, like, in summary, though, I think I like the money fights. I don't consider this a money fight. Like, I don't get it. Like, even the first day they, like, announced it, I'm like, it's just like, a money fight has to be, the reason we're doing it is because it's going to make so much money and so many people want to see it that we're going to do it, and we know it doesn't make any sense, the fact that the rankings, but this one isn't enough to where it justifies screwing up the, you know what I mean?
I think the reason why they call it a money fight is because Stipe has knocked out, everybody, and the one guy that they thought, Francis,
was going to knock him out.
Looked like
He looked like
he
garbage.
looked like that was his first fight ever. Like, he just got tired.
Like, if we want to do a money fight, why don't we just have Cain Velasquez come back and fight Stipe?
That's
and then,
what I'm saying.
If we want a super card, why don't we just have he defends his title against Stipe, and on the same card we have DC do his. Now we get two. We have the same two guys fighting two different other guys.
A major factor is you have no competitors for these guys in their weight classes. That's a major competitor.
yeah,
that's obviously
once
the
John
problem.
Jones got caught, that weight
And Rumble
class,
Johnson's done.
Rumble Johnson
Rumble
retired.
Johnson.
Why don't you get Alexander Gustafsson? That was a great
He's
fight.
beat him.
Well, I mean, it was
I
so
mean, he
close.
has beat
can
him,
still do
but
it.
I think Alexander's gotten a lot better.
I think
if
he's
he
like the most
hadn't-
underrated guy in the division too.
I think if he hadn't have beat him once, they'd be definitely like he beat him. So I think decisively, I think it's a problem that it was just like, man, like he beat him worse than John Jones beat him. He beat him pretty bad. It was
John
pretty
Jones-
rough.
nobody can say
Could've
they wouldn't
lost
want to
that
see it
fight.
though.
Oh, I'd watch it again. Not even.
You know what? It
not
would make
even a
more
question.
sense to do that and then have him fight him, and then have like Stipe fight like Cain Velasquez or
The
something.
thing is, Rumble Johnson, he lost to DC and then retired right after. That's when he retired.
Yeah, that's when he
lost.
retired.
Yeah, so it's like that was like the only guy.
It's like
besides
DC and John
Jones
Jones are just killing the whole division, and then the thing is, you're like, oh well, do you got two guys killing the whole division? They'll just face each other, and they've done that, and it just you know what happens. Like,
how you guys think John Jones would fare up against Stipe?
I think he could beat him.
Not
Not
I
even
think
good.
I think he'd tear him up.
I think he'd
I
beat
think
him.
he could beat him. I just think that Stipe's too big. I
think so?
think the only person that's going to come back, not even if Brock Lesnar came back, I think he would probably stand the best chance because he can move Stipe. Like, the problem is, like, Francis just got so tired. Like,
He couldn't move him.
He doesn't use the size like you would think he could either.
Yeah, the size. John Jones weighs like 225, but he's real lanky. Like, he's not gonna like he's not gonna just throw you around type of guy. He's just gonna strike. And even though Stipe,
not a knockout artist either,
yeah,
really.
Stipe is gonna stand up. And the problem is, if you're gonna exchange blows with Stipe, you're just
I
not
think he has
gonna
more
win
of a
that.
variety of like strikes. So like he has that head kick that head kick he hit on DC. If he hits any human on the planet, I think they go down.
Oh no, I think
That's
he
why
has
I think
the
he
best
could beat
tools
him.
to beat him. I just don't think he's. I just don't.
I think Stipe could be too big for him though. That's another reason why everybody's saying like, oh, John Jones and Brock. I think John Jones will just outclass him. Yeah, he's a way better fighter.
I like how they don't compare
He
the
would
two anyway. Like,
he would be just outmatched physically to Brock. Like Brock is like literally when he
They don't-
doesn't cut weight, he's 280.
they don't use the same principle for both.
Yeah, it's because like a lot of these UFC purists they don't like Brock because he's a WWE guy and he comes over, so they look, they try to like, we don't really. And John Jones is the perfect example of like the hardcore fans in the UFC. He's like the best that you can get. He's the best ever, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So it's like, which I agree with, but I'm saying at some point size matters. At some point, being 285 when you're not like
walk around weight.
Your walk around weight's
a problem.
285. This guy's walk weight's 220. You're gonna be in there. He's gonna be 220 if he
weighs
doesn't
at
cut weight.
265. I mean, I'm thinking
And
at
Brock's gonna
most,
walk in there 275, 270 at least.
Yeah, I'm thinking at most 280. I mean, there's only so much.
And
weight
everybody
you can
likes
put
to
on.
act like he's just a big body, but I mean, the man is a legitimate wrestler. Like, he's arguably the best wrestler in the heavyweight division ever. I'm sure a lot of people would probably think that.
I mean, he has the best takedown percentage in UFC history.
I mean, the man is a legitimate.
Yeah.
Like, people forget, they act like WWE erases the fact that he's good. Like, that doesn't, like, that's just like, it doesn't add or
You have to
subtract
take out.
to it.
You have to take out his WWE stuff to be able to judge his UFC
the
career.
thing is, they're like,
People
it's
can't
fake.
do it.
Of course, it's fake. That it's called World Wrestling Entertainment. Like,
Yeah.
it's called
It
entertainment.
doesn't like
it's not
detract.
an
It doesn't
actual
make you
fight.
a worse fighter. It just doesn't like make you better or worse. I mean, it's
Yeah.
people act like, oh well, he's going to WWE, so he sucks now. It's like that
Yeah,
doesn't
like that's not.
that
it's-
doesn't make you a less of an athlete.
Like the thing is, like if people go to that, like Ronda Rousey, there's like, oh, now she's just washed up. She's going to the WWE. It's not like the trash can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
well,
like, I mean,
Ronda
some
Rousey-
people, we don't say that when people go do Hollywood movies. We're not like, oh, he's in Hollywood now, so he sucks. He
Ronda
can't fight
Rousey
anymore.
was just extremely ahead of her time. Like, she was just
Yeah, of course she was.
Yeah, she just-
it's
she was
honestly
really-
like Bill Russell and like the NBA. Like
Ronda
he was
Rousey.
so far ahead.
Ronda
Yeah.
Rousey was just built with a lot of smoke and mirrors. Like, it was just like,
The women's division was not really developed like it is now. I think.
yeah, it's like I heard Chael Sonnen on a podcast say, he's like, back when Ronda was champion, if a woman come into my gym and asked me, hey, I want to be one of the top 10 women fighters in the world, I would just raise her hand and say, all right, you're automatically in the top 10, because nobody was good back then. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, it's not a knock on Ronda, because I mean, she is an Olympian in JUCO, but JUCO's a dead sport. There's not a single school in the United States that recognizes JUCO as an official sport.
Yeah.
So it's a dead sport. All it is just submissions. That's all it is. It's just submissions. So
And
all
she
she
was
knew
just
how to
such
do
an
was
athlete. She could just manhandle
Yeah,
people
I
before
mean-
anybody could do that. She was like basically did what Khabib and Brock do. Like she would
And
just outclass everybody,
all
like just
it took-
outmuscle everybody.
all it took was an Amanda Nunes or somebody like that, a Holly Holm, to come in here who's a well-rounded. She's a boxer. Holly Holm is a world-class boxer.
Yeah, Holly Holmes.
I mean, like what, like 16-time champion or something
Yeah,
like that.
you don't
Something
need-
crazy
and
like
they
that.
each have kicks and they have like ground game, all that. Like
Yeah, I mean, Holly
I
Holm's
respect
she's a
Holly a lot.
kickboxer.
another thing
Yeah.
is like they had so much tape on her and she had done so much stuff. And I think like some of the times people lose just because it's your time. You're gonna lose sometime. Unless you're
Yeah.
like John Jones
Yeah.
or Floyd Mayweather, you're gonna lose. And I think she just racked up so many victories and so much success.
Well-
You got all these new hungry people, and you're out here doing Hollywood movies and doing
She
all
only
this.
had, I mean, if you think about it, she's just like Brock. She has like 8 fights or something like that. Like, it's not that many.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm saying
Yeah.
she was well publicized and had a lot of tape on her. Amanda Nunes and some of these other girls, just like they're the unknown factor. They're coming in. You don't know what you're gonna get. You know what you're gonna get with Ronda. Everybody's seen her fights and all that.
Yeah.
These other girls, and they have nothing to lose either.
When you're ahead of
They're just
your
going there
time,
crazy.
you also have to go with the flow, and it's like she was ahead of her time and she stayed still while everybody else passed her.
Everybody
then
was in the
and
background.
then people started beating
It's
her.
almost like the kid in like 5th grade that's like 6'3" and something, and like everybody catches up. It was like that.
It's while she was sitting there being champion, like you got people like Cyborg and Amanda Nunes who are like in the background sitting there like learning how to kick your freaking head off, and it's like
Yeah,
Well, and plus she's like a recognized mega superstar. I mean, she's doing movies. She's doing red carpet appearances. She's doing all this. She's going to WrestleMania 31. Like,
I'm watching that for sure.
well, I'm talking
excited
about
for
when she went like 3 years ago. I mean, she
Yeah.
was doing all that stuff. She's been in movies,
I
Hollywood,
think
all that stuff.
I think that was the downfall of her. I think that's the downfall of a lot of people. You grind so hard that you want to take in where you got.
Yeah.
And the problem is when you're on Jimmy Fallon, when you're on Ellen, and when you're going to
Yeah,
do
when
all
you're
these
doing all that
red carpet
stuff.
premieres.
That's a
and,
day you're not training, and then you get home after that jet lag, and that's probably another day you're not training.
only person we've ever seen maintain that successfully is Conor McGregor in the UFC. Like, he's the only
Well,
one.
really,
who's
you can't even
successfully-
say Conor
Yeah,
because
forward.
he wasn't like a mega superstar when he fought like almost 2 years ago now.
He was doing video games and
He was, but not like he's doing now. I mean,
No,
now he's
not,
going.
not like how he's doing.
That,
now.
I don't think
he
he can
gets-
really even say like what he was doing is like. I think this will be his real test when he comes back. The other times it was like he came back, he fought Eddie Alvarez.
think
I mean,
another thing
he wasn't like
he was doing the Jimmy Fallons and the Conan O'Briens, and he was doing the video
Yeah,
games.
but
He was
you
doing
can,
a
you can
lot
do a
of
little
stuff.
bit of those. The problem is when
Not like he's doing now. Not even close.
Well,
after he fought Floyd Mayweather, way different. He's going like every single day. There's a TMZ clip of him going to some restaurant, doing some movie, or he's on Call of Duty Infinite, whatever it is.
Infinite Warfare. Yeah,
he's doing all this, like way more stuff. Like I mean, he would do like the occasional interview and appearance at the other, like 2 years ago. But
I think that's normal as part of being in the UFC.
Yeah, like a lot of guys would do that, but not what nobody does what he's been doing like this last year.
If he comes back and fights Khabib and wins it for doing all this nonsense, then he's.
I think he probably will. Well, I think he'll beat Tony if he fights Tony.
What I'm saying is he's maintained it the best of anybody who's attempted it. Is what I'm saying.
And I think another thing that hurt Ronda, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but that she was a woman, because she was the first woman to successfully succeed that much, and the division blew up. That everybody wanted her.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted her. Everybody wanted to do the first interview with her. Everybody wanted to ask her this question, or it doesn't matter. Like. I mean, you watch some and they'll acknowledge that she's in the UFC, but they ask her questions that pertain to her outside UFC life because they wanted, everything. And I think it hurt her in that she wasn't in the gym and that she's taking plane rides.
Yeah, you're right about like they've had superstars, that like the first real superstar, like I would say was like Chuck Liddell, and then maybe like.
He would do his occasional commercial.
Chuck Liddell and all them, and then it was like. Brock and Conor and all that, but like Ronda was the first woman, so it was like she was already a superstar, and now she's going to be even more because everybody's like, "Oh, this is the first female superstar." Well, we haven't had one like this before.
Yeah.
So it almost magnified it.
Like
when
when you see a male, it was kind of normal.
Oh, all men. But UFC's almost always men. Okay, but now it's like, okay, this is the first legitimate female mega superstar,
and she's also like
she's really marketable. Think about it. Everybody likes her.
None of the women do any of that. Like. I've never seen Cyborg on Jimmy Fallon. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I've never seen a Cyborg interview outside of a post-fight or a pre-fight. Like,
and the problem is, all those other women, they're not good at like doing interviews. They're not. Yeah, nobody wants them in movies and stuff.
The thing is, Ronda Rousey,
like Amanda Nunes, she's not going to be in a leading role in a movie. I hate to tell you.
No, I mean, first of all, I hate this is going to sound really bad, but I totally don't mean it the way it is. Like, Ronda could speak English. Like these other women their English is kind of slanted. So the United States is obviously the machine that. It's Las Vegas. The United States is the machine. It's very obvious.
Yeah.
So the English factor of Ronda being able to speak English, she's a great fighter. At the time, she was the best woman fighter in the world.
She has a great look. Everybody likes her.
She has a great look. And another thing is like
all the puzzle pieces fell in.
She has charisma. She's really well spoken. She's smart. She knows how to. She can learn to do any movies, TV, any of that. You name it.
Yeah, she took acting classes. I heard before she fought Amanda Nunes, she was taking acting classes.
Yeah, and Nunes isn't doing that. She's in the gym. Learning how to choke out somebody.
Amanda Nunes is punching a punching bag or sparring while you're sitting over there, learning how to fake cry. Like it's totally not going to work.
And another thing that penalized her when we were saying, another thing that did not help her is how she had never really lost before, and she was not ready to handle losing. Like you could just tell. Like,
well, when she lost, it took her a year and 8 months to come back.
And then she came back,
and you came back to they said. Besides Holly Holm, this will probably be her worst matchup if she was to fight Amanda Nunes. And
I think it was definitely worse.
I think it was way worse. I feel like the first one was kind of like a fluke. Not like a fluke, but like she definitely was going to lose. But it was
she took Holly all the way into the second. Like Holly, they went to the second. Like Amanda Nunes, it was 55 seconds.
Yeah,
the other one was just like you just got ripped apart. Like the other one was like she kind of got caught a kick, and it was like, okay, that could happen to anybody. The second one was like, no, you just got beat.
Yeah, you got beat, and you got beat
fast. That's exactly what it was. It's not even the first one was the John Jones kick. Like it was like. Any woman in the world's going down from that kick that night. Yeah. Like, that kick was way too perfect. Amanda Nunes, she just got in there and boxed her like nobody's ever seen.
She gave her the 1-2 real quick.
Yeah, it was literally like, it was nothing like we've ever seen in the women's division.
Everything's played out, I feel like played out the way it should, though. Because now, you got Ronda's in WWE, and I really am liking her WWE run. Even though the McMahons are kind of doing their best to wreck it.
Like normal.
Like, Stephanie McMahon and Triple H are making it their moment instead of Ronda's moment.
Are they really?
It's kind of messed up, yeah.
They're just
actually
Triple H can't put down the spotlight. And
every time she comes out, they have to come out every single time. She can't just come out without them. They got to come out and do some kind of nonsense where like they hit her and she's got to react and body slam somebody. So
how is she like? I haven't watched her like actually wrestle.
She hadn't had a match yet.
She did a Samoan drop and it wasn't horrible, but everybody was exaggerating. Like they were like, "Oh, this is terrible. She can't do a Samoan drop right." No, it was really a lot different.
It was on Stephanie McMahon.
It was on Stephanie McMahon, somebody who never takes bumps. She's wearing a suit.
Some video got leaked the other day. Some video got leaked like 2 days ago or yesterday or something like that of her in the performance center, and I mean, she looked. Did you see it?
No.
She looked all right. It looked good. It was a good.
I mean, she just started.
It was a good minute long. She was whipping somebody into the ropes, and I think they threw a punch and she ducked it.
Like casual wrestling.
Yeah, and then they come back off the ropes again, and she shoulder blocked them down to the ground or something. So it was. I mean, she looked good. She was moving well. It looked good.
The thing is, people want to just like make this way more than it is. She is a mega superstar. It doesn't matter. Her tag team partner is Kurt Angle, arguably the greatest wrestler of all time. She doesn't have to be that great.
Yeah, and
Brock is the same way. He is now. Brock is great. A lot of people don't think he is. I think he's one of the best wrestlers ever. It's just like now he's not really like. I'm talking Brock like when he actually like wrestled every week. Like he was one of the greatest wrestlers ever. Like,
absolutely.
Even now he could be if he wanted to, but that's not what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to go out there and I hope she does the same thing. Like she's a killer. She's gonna rip people in half. She's not gonna go in there and take arm drags and run the ropes with everybody else.
Yeah,
she's gonna do a little bit of that. She's gonna have a match, but it's gonna be more of the mystique of this is Ronda Rousey. She could really kill somebody in there.
We shouldn't be getting a Ronda Rousey match on Raw every week.
Yeah, no, we don't need to see that.
Maybe like with Ronda, I don't think she needs to be as protected as Brock. Not quite as protected.
Yeah, she should be doing every pay per view. I think
every pay per view she needs to have a match, and then not every pay per view.
Not every pay per view, but like
definitely the big four.
No more of this. Like Brock will do like the big four and two others. Like, we're talking 6 or 7 maybe.
6 out of the year. There's 12 pay per views. She'll be on Raw, so she'll have 12 pay per views a year. At least 6 to 8, and then she might do 2 Raw matches a year to 3, like
and be on Raw like 50% of the time.
Yeah, like you need to spontaneously throw a Raw match in there a little bit, like when they eventually do put the belt on her, because they're putting the belt on her, not even a question.
I hope they do. It makes way more sense.
So whenever they do that, you spontaneously got to do your like Ronda Rousey, you're defending your title tonight, and the crowd goes wild. So you got to do those.
Next year we need a Charlotte versus Ronda match for the title.
Yeah.
If we don't, I'm gonna be kind of pissed off.
But Ronda Rousey
what is the match?
When? What
is the match?
It's basically they did this BS angle. Have you seen the WrestleMania 31 clip back in like 2015? I'm pretty sure I've showed it to you.
When The Rock brought Ronda up in the ring, and Triple H and Stephanie were up there.
Yeah.
Okay, basically they're playing off that. They're like, oh, whenever she came over here and did that, we were real pissed off about it, or whatever, just typical WWE.
Yeah, no, I remember.
And then they were like, all right, and then they acted like it was all good, and then they did this BS angle where like Kurt Angle was saying like, that's not what she said about you backstage or something. They're trying to say they're going to tear you in half, and they want to sabotage
you back
you
from
and all
WrestleMania 31.
Yeah, it's like
so now it's like you got a tag team match, you got a mixed tag team match, you got a Triple H and Stephanie McMahon versus Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey. So like
they really can't just leave it alone.
Well, so like whenever
Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, they cannot put it down. They think that they want to be people. They think people want to see them as much as they want to see Ronda and Kurt Angle, and that's
totally not what it is.
First of all, we've all forgotten about Kurt Angle because they've done all this other stuff. Like, I want more Kurt Angle. We've only got one match out of him.
Yeah.
Or 2 of them, really.
2, yeah.
One
of
them
was
a
Survivor Series, and then we had the one with the Shield that one time. So.
Like, the thing is, just this time last year, we were all like, dude, are they going to bring Kurt Angle back? The rumors were going. And we've only gotten 2 matches out of him. I was still, like, it's with WWE, the new thing comes in, and, like, the thing that I really wanted to see that, like, a year ago even, I've just put it aside because Ronda Rousey came, and the Hardys came back, and all these guys came back. Like, we still need to see Kurt Angle wrestle.
Dude, that might be.
So I hope they kind of let him get in there a little bit.
That might be the most well-rounded tag team.
I think they'll be in there most of the time. I don't
they'll
think
have to because you
Ronda and Stephanie won't be.
Whenever Triple H will tag in, Kurt's gonna have to tag in. We're not gonna have Triple H in their freaking pedigree and Ronda Rousey. That's not happening.
And Stephanie can't wrestle at all.
Yeah, so she's gonna be doing the least amount of work on that team, which equals Ronda doing the less amount of work on her team.
Yeah, well, and Stephanie can't wrestle at all.
That Kurt Angle, especially when it being WrestleMania and the match will be long. Kurt Angle will be in there 75% of the time.
It'll be a 10 to 12 minute match. It won't be super long.
No, I don't think it'll be super long.
Well, and Stephanie can't wrestle and to begin with.
That's what I'm
really
saying.
That good. And then Ronda, if they are in there together, like let's say Stephanie can kind of wrestle a little bit, which she kind of can. It's like it's not believable. Like her versus Charlotte is really believable.
Very believable. Her versus Asuka is very believable. Her versus Sasha is believable. Stephanie, not even close.
It's ridiculous. So that's why I don't like this match.
How I see it is. The only offense Stephanie will have is if, like, Triple H did something to Ronda. I'm not talking about pedigree or something, and then Stephanie was, like, she was like in the turnbuckle and she was just like screaming at her, slapping her or something. Like I don't see her actually like doing like a suplex or something. Like I don't.
No.
I just. And
Well, that's why this thing kind of sucks.
Well, and what's really annoying is when Ronda debuted at the Rumble, it was Alexa Bliss, Charlotte, and Asuka were all standing in the ring. Asuka just won the Royal Rumble, and she has free reign to pick whatever champion she wants to fight at WrestleMania. She can pick Charlotte or Alexa Bliss. She could pick either one. So Asuka comes out, and she's like sitting there like looking, and then she picks Charlotte, and then Ronda's music hits, and Ronda rocks out, and she like gets up in every single person's face and like points at WrestleMania. So you're sitting there thinking like, okay, well maybe I'll get like at least Alexa Bliss Ronda Rousey match. That might work. I can take that.
Yeah, I could.
And
definitely.
then they totally the very next night
Just wrecked
completely didn't do that at all. Like it was like
They did not know what they were doing. They had
Yeah,
too many
like-
factors going on, and me and him were like,
Dude, that
usually can
women-
just be like, this is what's going to happen, but we couldn't even
Women's
do it.
WWE.
It's
is
way better.
taken
Dude, even
off.
a year ago, when I was sitting there with like Alexa Bliss, Charlotte,
Sasha Bailey, yeah.
I was sitting there like, that's a lot. That's a lot of potential. Like, if they held the belt for a year, I wouldn't even be mad about it. But it's like you have to distribute
Alexa Bliss has
it
had that thing
evenly.
for a year.
No,
Yeah.
no, she dropped it for like 2 days. Remember that stupid?
Oh
angle?
yeah.
I hate when they do that. It's so retarded.
She's
like,
basically had the belt a year. She's
so
almost
stupid
she's
when
almost
they
had
do
the
that.
strap for a year.
It's basically like they were like, all right, let's just take it off of her. That way, we don't want to break on this person's title reign, but we still want her as champ. Like that's so stupid. Like, why are we doing that? Because you just wrecked a good historic title reign.
But not even close. And you can ask him. We watched it that night. The Royal Rumble, women's Royal Rumble, way better than the men's. Like it wasn't even like it was way better.
Actual like pure wrestling, it was way better.
Yeah, it was way better. And they had way more surprise entries that shouldn't have been in there. I mean, they had.
But like they were good. Like the men's one, like it really gets annoying because like
They
me
didn't
and
do
him
it.
will
They
sit
didn't do
there-
it this year.
They didn't do it this year, but they'll do this thing where they're like, oh, let's let Michael Cole go in there, and then JBL, and then like Jimmy Snuka or somebody like, and
The
it's just
Godfather.
the
and,
Godfather, and he'll and they get eliminated in 18 seconds. Oh, but we got a little cheap pop, like that people laughed at for 5 seconds, and then you got Zack Ryder and all these guys that I actually would want to see get on TV, and they don't get Kurt Hawkins, and they don't get to get on.
These guys are putting in. They're traveling the roads every night, and then you get the Godfather, who literally hasn't been here since what?
02 or something.
02. He gets a freaking Royal Rumble spot. It's like, what the heck, guys? That's
I understand
ridiculous.
what they're doing,
And it's
but
not
at
like
the
when
same
the
time, it's not fair.
Hurricane came back. That is what I want.
Well, he was in the match.
Yeah.
He was in the match for
These
an
people that go in
extended
there
amount
and
of time.
they don't do anything, and it's like a waste of a spot. Like, why don't you just have him be like a host of the pay per view?
Yeah,
like,
Nah, I will
did,
say-
did Rey Mysterio come back?
He was in there a
That
long
was-
time.
Yeah, I was about to say, was he in there?
He
a
was
long
in there
looked
a
time?
long,
good.
and he looked awesome. It was all. At one point, you had like Roman and like Finn Balor and Seth Rollins, and it was like. It was literally only 6 people in the ring, and it was like Roman, Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and they were looking across the ring, and it was like Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, and John Cena, and it was like, okay,
Dude.
these 3 guys used to carry the company, and now these 3 guys are carrying the company, and
Yeah,
they're
it was
looking
crazy.
like
Who was
they're-
the other team besides the John Cena? The
it
first,
was Reigns, Finn Balor, and Seth Rollins. So it was literally like
that is.
It was awesome.
yeah, it
I
was
have
real.
to- I have to
Like they
watch
all
it was
backed
such a
up.
moment. Like,
They all backed up and sat there, and like just everybody looked at each other. Like
I
it
forgot
was,
about that until you just said that.
Yeah,
That
it was
was
super
crazy.
cool.
I got the result ruined for me because basically what we do is me and Michael watch this like for whatever, like we usually can never watch them like on time. So
Our
we'll watch them that
schedules
night.
never just line up.
So we'll
'cause-
just well that, except for the April 7th and 8th where we're gonna watch the UFC and WrestleMania. I'm making sure I'm off for both of those.
those are huge.
But anyway, we usually will watch them after, and usually like we'll be like, all right, man, social media blackout, don't get on there. And I got the only thing that got ruined for me was the Royal Rumble winner, which is like the only thing that matters.
Yeah, especially
Like I
when
could
you're
predict
watching
the rest of the
Royal
card.
Rumble,
Like I was like, this guy will win this. I mean, that's what we usually do, and I was like, the Rumble, like that's the only thing I can't. I mean, I can limit it
There's
down.
30
to,
people in it.
I could limit it
Yeah.
down to like 4 guys, like and be
Yeah.
like guaranteed one of them will win. But I mean,
It
it
was,
got it right for me. Shinsuke won.
Shinsuke won.
I feel like I still can't say it because I like the night I knew and you didn't know. Like I feel like I don't even want to like say who won.
How did we get to Royal Rumble? Ronda Rousey?
Yeah.
We went from Tony and Khabib to Brock Lesnar to Ronda Rousey to freaking Shinsuke Nakamura.
We're gonna do another one of these. This was pretty fun though. Like a
Yeah.
3 minute. We can just sit here and BS. Like I mean, we do this anyway, so we might as well put it on. Maybe
I'm-
a couple people like
I'm
it.
just so excited about this UFC 223. Like
I'm-
I'm so
I'm
Probably his
excited.
best.
Have you heard about the DC card? What they're planning to do to that? What they're trying
It's
to
gonna
do
be
to
a
that
mega
thing?
super card.
They are
No, I
literally
haven't
trying
heard
to.
anything.
They're trying to make that the super card of the year.
It's
They're
gonna
trying
be
to
like
go.
UFC 200, like before it got wrecked. Like whenever like all these
Dude,
people
that
were
one
like,
was gonna be awesome.
dude, they were gonna have John Jones, Brock, like DC.
I heard that on UFC 225 they're thinking about going. They're thinking about doing. And by the way, CM Punk's fighting 224 next month.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's
Is he
fighting in Chicago. Some
Some dude who thinks he's tough.
something Johnson. I can't remember.
He has
his
like
name.
5,000 followers on Twitter.
They're
and thinks
both
he's like a
they're both 0-1. They both got submit. Like they have very extremely similar fights. But To UFC 225, they're thinking about doing DC Stipe, Cyborg Amanda Nunes. They are.
That's probably that. Honestly, that
I want to
card,
see that so
I
bad.
don't even. You won't even probably say the rest. That'll probably be my favorite fight.
They're thinking about. They're trying. I don't think it's gonna work because I've heard that there's already been a contract signed between two other guys, but they originally were trying to put Mighty Mouse and TJ Dillashaw on there.
Who do you make the main card?
DC Stipe, not even a question. But yeah.
I want to see like
Now I heard
every one of
when
those.
I talked to Reese Humphrey that time, which by the way you should go and check it out. It's in the archives. Go check it out.
World class wrestler, and by the way, he has a viral video of a guy doing wrestling.
If you've
I'm
seen
sure
that-
you've seen it if you're listening to this.
If you've seen that video of that
We talked
wrestler
to him.
who does the backflip to avoid a takedown,
and
that's
then,
Reese
and then
Humphrey.
it goes around and like gets a grip around the dude's waist and
Yeah,
like whatever you want to
I
call it.
talked to him. We talked to him one time.
I set the interview up, but I ended up having to work that day, so Michael just talked to him by himself.
Yeah, go check that one out. It's a pretty good interview. The quality's a little bad, but go check it out. It's not too bad. But Reese Humphrey was telling me that he's in TJ Dillashaw's camp doing his wrestling. He's doing TJ Dillashaw's wrestling camp, and he was telling me that they've already signed a Cody Garbrandt contract again, so they're gonna get that rematch.
That was a good one.
TJ was saying like he doesn't deserve it. He has to work his way back up. That's not how it works. When you're a champion, you get a rematch.
Yeah,
That's how it works. Like I hope even if you don't defend it one time or if you defend it 9 times,
yeah.
you get the
Listen, if
rematch.
Mighty Mouse gets beat in this year by somebody and loses his belt,
trust me,
he is gonna get a rematch. It's
a
not.
rematch
he
clause.
deserves
There's a phrase
it.
for
He
this.
deserves it more than anybody on this planet.
I mean, he has.
It does-
He's not my favorite UFC fighter ever, but the man has the most successful title defenses in UFC history. He has 11 title defenses. He's defended the belt more successfully than Anderson Silva. He deserves a rematch if he wants one.
Yeah, you can.
By the way, Anderson Silva, is he going to hang it up? 'Cause
He's
I
done.
think he needs to.
He's got it. He got
He got popped.
an 8-year ban.
What if he came back at like 55? Like started like
Isn't he
just
42?
He's like he'd be literally
Yeah,
50
he's
if he
old.
came back.
He could come back at 50. You know, Chuck Liddell's trying to come back.
Him and
He
Chael
is,
Sonnen are
he is
running-
trying to come. He's like, Dana, let me fight. I'm ready.
Him and Chael Sonnen
No,
are
you're
trying
not.
to set something up. I'd like to see that. 'Cause
If,
you got
if,
two guys
if,
who
if
are like
it was Chael Sonnen,
Chael Sonnen, dude, he's going through that Grand Prix thing like it's nobody's business. He's killing. He beat Rampage the other week.
yeah.
Tore him up.
Did you hear? Oh, dude, the interview with where he was like in a suit, like on some sports talk show, and they're like showing like Rampage Jackson just running him down, like and he was like in a suit, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything negative about it, but if I was gonna say something, this is what I would do." And he just rips him in half and like says like, "Why don't you stick to like violating women and driving on the wrong side of the road?" And like he just like completely roasts him on the thing. But he's like, "But I'm in a suit, so I'm not gonna say anything like that."
Oh
like
man,
Chael
yeah,
Sonnen.
he's going through that.
Chael Sonnen's like probably top 5 like favorite. I think he's. I know a lot of people like would definitely not like. I think he's my favorite trash talker. I like his stuff better than Conor's. I think it's like it's more my style.
Connor.
It's more of my style.
No, Connor uses more of his money and like changing your bum life thing
Yeah.
like to do it. Chael Sonnen will like.
It's articulate.
Nothing is off limits, but it's well thought out.
Like Tito Ortiz, have you seen that?
Yeah, it's stuff
He's
like
like
that.
he's only gotten all his fights run.
Yeah,
he's
here's
in his
the
mouth. He's like,
I can't see the
But it's stuff.
it's so
like
much
that.
funnier to me. Like I trust me. I know people were like, "Do you actually?" No, you can go look at my YouTube search history. I have a ton of Conor McGregor trash talk searches and in my like videos and all that. Trust me, I listen to it on a regular basis. I'm just saying that Chael Sonnen thing is more of my style. His routine is more of what I kind of like.
they
Yeah, no, it's funny.
he beat Rampage, and I think he's gonna fight. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's gonna fight Frank Mir next. I think Frank Mir won
Freak
his
Mir's still
fight.
alive? I didn't even know that.
I think Frank Mir won his fight, and
Isn't Freak Mir like a 265? Like
Dude,
they're all heavyweights now.
He's-
Chael Sonnen's fighting heavyweight. It's a heavyweight Grand Prix. It's a heavy.
I know
it's
Chael
only
Sonnen
heavyweight.
like was like not even like
Okay.
220 or 230.
Sorry, guys. I was trying to pull up the bracket, and I guess I clicked on images, and they're like, "Oh, it's a GIF with a video." By the way, sorry. Trying
Chael
to pull up the
Sonnen,
bracket.
like he used to fight in light heavyweight. That's what was throwing me off.
He fought middleweight at one point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
he's definitely is the weights aren't different in Bellator, are they?
No, they're
He
all
just
just
moved
they're all
up.
just old and heavy. It's all the old. It's like Travis Brown, Chael Sonnen, Rampage Jackson,
Travis
Frank
Brown's
Mir.
in Bellator now.
yeah, he's not good in the UFC.
Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah.
I don't care who knows it.
I mean, not Travis Brown.
No.
I just said Roy Nelson. I don't know why. I don't know why I just got their
Okay.
names confused.
He was always a heavyweight
Yeah,
when he was in
I'll
10th
let-
grade, probably.
Sorry, I didn't mean to say Travis Brown, guys. My bad.
Travis
Yeah,
Brown
he doesn't
should
suck.
be
I
there.
take it back.
Oh, he should be there.
King Mo's in there. King
King
Mo's.
Mo, God.
He's in
That's
there.
where Brock needs to go. Dude, screw the UFC.
Chael Sonnen should
Fedor
win that.
Emelianenko's in there. They're all in there. All these old washed up guys from the UFC, they're all in the
Chael
heavyweight
Sonnen,
Grand
the
Prix.
thing is, Chael Sonnen, his mouth gets him in a bit of a problem.
He is a good fighter, though,
No,
but his
he's a
mouth
good
is
problem,
what you
but
really like.
but when he talks, like I said, nothing's off limits for him. He'll call Dana out for some BS. Like he doesn't mind doing that, and sometimes calling out the boss man that signs your check isn't the best thing. Conor sticks to just calling out the fighters.
Well, he could do it if he wanted to, but
He could
Chelsea,
do it
you
if
got to
he
be
wanted
so
to.
valuable to the company. Like, if you're just, oh, he's a pretty good draw, he'll get us some more
When
buys.
you win like
It's not
two
worth
fights
it.
and then lose one, not cutting it.
And then what's crazy is the winner of this, usually in a Grand Prix, like Chael Sonnen was talking about it on his podcast, usually the winner of a Grand Prix fights the heavyweight champion, but they don't have a heavyweight champion in Bellator right now. So, like, whoever wins the Grand Prix he's, like, literally one fight away from winning. Like, if he wins his next fight,
he will run his mouth
fight.
so much if he wins that.
if he wins his next fight, he's fighting for the title.
I love
basically.
it. I hope he wins it. I can't wait to hear those promos. I don't know about you. I would love to hear that.
So who's he?
He's already beat Rampage.
Yep.
Rampage is doing heavyweight. He's in that thing, too?
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying.
All these guys are just like, screw this. I'm
I
just going
think
to put
he's
on some
fighting-
LBs and go fight in
I think he's
Bellator.
fighting Frank Mir next, which I think he
Roy
can
Nelson.
beat Frank Mir.
Frank Mir's like probably better in his prime than Chael Sonnen was in his prime, but I feel like he's just like, he didn't look, I watched his fight, his most recent fight, it didn't look good at all.
The thing is, like washed up like Roy Nelson, dude. Like, he didn't. Roy Nelson.
He was just like a power, like, KO guy, like,
Yeah,
anyway.
it's like, dude, you have a lot of power and you knock people out, but it was like, you're not like Mark Hunt. Like, Mark Hunt, he's got like some credible knockouts. Like, you knocked out like some people in that.
Reality TV show.
Yeah.
UFC.
Ultimate
Yeah,
Fighter.
Ultimate Fighter.
He's never did anything in the UFC, really.
He's never won a title or anything.
That's why I'm saying, like people are like, oh, dude, he's good. Like, he hasn't done anything that I've been like. All those guys, even if they haven't won a belt, like, I know their names and I know, some of the fights they were in, and I've watched them fight. But like Roy Nelson, like, you haven't done anything. Like, why are you even there?
I think it's all the guys. I mean, Quentin, he was I don't even think he ever won the light heavyweight title, did he?
He was in a lot of big time fights and beat a lot of big time people.
Yeah, I was
though.
about to say.
Yeah, I mean, he
fought
beat a lot of
Rashad
big-time
Evans
guys.
and
King Mo was always extremely popular.
yeah,
But yeah, dude, that's Bellator Heavyweight Grand Prix. That thing's pretty cool, man.
that is actually pretty cool. I didn't even know about that.
It's it'd be interesting to see if Chael Sonnen gets the freaking, if they put the heavyweight championship on Chael Sonnen, he will never stop.
I love every
He's
minute
never
of it.
won. I don't think he's ever won like a professional, like a super professional.
A lot of people act like he's just some guy who like ran his mouth really good and was like kind of athletic. Like, that dude won a ton of wrestling matches in college. He's like one of the best wrestlers in the UFC, like the UFC's ever had.
Let's see.
Like, he is like similar to like what Brock did, like wrestling stuff.
Yeah, it's just people won't go look.
Oh, they've already got UFC 224, Amanda Nunes versus Pennington, whoever that is.
What number is the one we're watching on April 7th? Is that 223?
223.
There's so much stuff to talk about.
Raquel-
We're gonna have to make this a two-parter. Probably we're gonna have to talk about
Raquel
this again.
Pennington.
We should just do this on a regular basis, a UFC one.
Yeah,
Maybe CM Punk's not fighting at Chicago. Here's
I
the
don't
whole
know.
card.
CM Punk's my favorite pro wrestler ever, but I don't know. I don't really care to see another UFC fight of his.
I didn't watch the first
I
one.
wish
but
they would
heard
just
it
put
was
somebody in there with him who's like this dude. They plan on making him fight.
bad.
Like,
Yeah, you
Well,
got it.
now it's like we've already. The only reason you wanted to see it is unless he would win, then I would want to see it again. If it was like the unknown, or if he did like what Brock did, where he lost, but it was like he was controlling the fight. It looks like he's gonna be great at this. Like,
Yeah.
he was great at this first fight, and he's only gonna get better. But CM Punk's was like, dude, the dude's like 37, and he looked.
When is that?
It wasn't good.
Which one?
That's the one I want to see.
this is the one that CM. I'm sorry, guys. This is the one CM Punk might be on. So I was thinking I had my dates mixed up. UFC 225 is Whitaker and Romero, or however you say
Romero,
it.
yeah.
226 is DC versus Stipe.
Is it,
So
Yoel Romero or whatever?
Yeah.
That dude's an animal, by the way. He's like Khabib and Brock.
do you hear
like, he
Robert
just will
Whitaker
get all
saying if he doesn't make weight, he's not fighting him? He's like, if he shows up the day before and misses weight again, I'm not gonna get knocked. I won't do it.
Yeah, he has the same problem.
This is the one they're trying to get CM Punk on, and I'm assuming they'll put him. You got Overeem versus Curtis Blades, which Francis has beat both of those guys. Curtis Blades is really freaking good. I think he'll probably beat Overeem. Curtis Blades, when he fought Overeem, they had to stop it because he had such a bad cut on his eye. He had such a bad cut on his eye that he couldn't even see. They were like holding up fingers.
Overeem's fought everybody on the planet. Like every person you could fight, he's fought him.
43-16.
That dude has fought.
He's got a lot of
like
fights.
he's had more fights than anybody like on the planet, like ever.
That's crazy.
Like even like undocumented.
Yeah,
like the cavemen, he has more fights than them.
That's insane.
The
dude.
man is like, and he's had like a lot of good wins too.
Yeah, the thing is, he doesn't care who he fights.
He's like, I don't care. I've had like 75 fights.
That'll be his 60th professional fight.
Gosh.
Oh, that Curtis.
I mean, you gotta think he probably had like undocumented like amateur fights that we'd never know about too. Like that dude is just taking so many like hits to the face.
That's crazy, man. That's absolutely.
I'm surprised
insane.
he can still even like hasn't have like brain damage or something.
Still got Conor listed as a champion. That's what I'm saying. And Dana's already said Conor's fighting the winner of that. He's guaranteed to fight. What I like about it is the winner of that fight is the champion, not the interim champion.
Yeah, none of the. I think this interim champion. I'm still kind of a casual fan, so I don't really know a lot. I just think it kind of turns people off because it's like this guy's the interim champion, this guy's the other champion. It's like
and the
it's
thing
not
is,
very clear like every other
2
thing.
years, so like people are waiting. It'd be different. Like the casual fan is waiting for that moment that Conor comes back.
It's almost like.
Well, you think about it, there's 12 weight classes, including women. There's a possibility we could have 24 belts at one time.
Yeah, that's...
that is a possibility.
I don't like
doesn't
that.
happen, but
yeah.
there is a very slim 0.01% chance we could have 24 people
There's a
with
good
a belt
chance
at
we'll
one
have
time.
about 13 to 15 champions, though.
15 is a very reasonable number.
I mean, I just think some of these interim belt, I just think it's kind of like some BS.
Oh, no.
I think it just makes it really confusing and like just...
When...
like... We kind of know, like, I don't really know that much. I'm, like, not into it enough to where, like, I figured all that out. Like, I don't...
Figured what out?
Like, why, like, I mean, I know why they do it, but it's like...
It's like
I don't watch it closely enough.
Like, whenever Jose pulled out against Conor that time, he was supposed to fight him. Conor was scheduled for a title fight, so he's owed a title fight. So they pull, like, the next guy in line who would be owed a title fight since the champion pulled out. And you got two guys... You have a title fight scheduled, but you got neither guy's a champion, so the winner gets what they call the interim belt, which is basically a guaranteed fight with the champion. And if he pulls out the next time, you're the champion.
Yeah, it sucks because like I think they should. I don't know. I think they could do away with it, but if you do away with it, then the whole purpose of it is
it would be
not
different
screw over
if,
the challenger that should have been getting that title fight that night.
It would be different if somebody didn't make weight one time, or if
having guys just,
if
when they
they
brag
got
about being
hurt,
the interim champion, that's the problem.
Or if they got hurt. The problem is Conor brought so much publicity and money to the UFC about fighting Floyd that it's hard to sit there and say, well, we're not going to give you a fight because you didn't stick to the guidelines set by the UFC. It's more of like, dude, you've done so much money-wise.
Conor doesn't have to follow the guidelines.
Yeah, that's what gets people mad. It's like people want to see Conor fight in the UFC because they watched him from boxing and that whole match.
I mean, he literally probably has a whole new following from that. Like he might have a whole new like.
Some of the guys like we've talked to, like the boxers we've talked to, like some of them probably. I mean, I know Jamel Herring. We talked to him. Like, he's like, dude, I love him. Like I watched that fight.
He was like, dude, he done way better than I thought he would. Like way better.
Which, by the way, we're probably gonna have on another boxer or two.
Yeah, hopefully.
We might have a money team boxer on. We may or may not.
It's possible. We're set. We're in negotiations right now, so we're getting it set up. But yeah, Conor, dude, he's I'm excited for him to come back, and I'm excited. I don't care which one. I don't care who he fights. Tony Ferguson. Or
I think
Khabib.
Tony would be a better fight, but I think Khabib would be like
Khabib's the way more unknown.
I think Khabib,
more.
like it depends on entertainment value. I think entertainment value, him versus Tony, but like who actually could beat him? Khabib.
Yeah, if you want to see
Khabib's
Conor
a way
lose,
better matchup.
Khabib, if you want to see. If you want to make more money out of it, you'll Tony. But
I think Khabib would just.
Tony will help build.
I think Khabib would be a really tough fight for Conor.
We got 2 weeks. We got
2 weeks and
13 days, and we're finding out.
Oh, dude, I remember like a month ago when it was like so far away, and like now it's like really closing in.
13 days away.
It's gonna be like the best weekend ever with that, and then WrestleMania the next day. Like,
that's gonna be
it's probably
crazy.
gonna be like the best weekend I've ever had.
Man,
it's gonna be wild.
It's gonna be like.
Oops.
I can't wait for this at all.
Tony Ferguson.
What if it was just like a first round knockout? It'd be so disappointing. Like all
It
this hype
cannot
for
be
months.
a bigger disappointment.
30 seconds and the freaking fight's over.
Francis is the
can't
biggest
be.
disappointment in the history
Honestly,
of my viewing experience.
Honestly, it was more entertaining watching John Jones get caught for PEDs than watching
it was way
that
better.
fight.
It was way better.
At least it added to a little bit of anticipation that
Yeah, it's way
he can
better.
come
Not even a
back
question.
in a year or whatever.
We don't want to go on all
Yeah,
day
we've been
about
going
this.
a while. An hour. 55 minutes.
We're
It's
gonna
crazy.
have to do another one of these.
Well, now that we got a third mic, we can do this at any moment.
Yeah, I need to eat something here soon though, so we might have to wrap this up.
Well, guys, we appreciate y'all listening. Taylor, thanks for coming. Thanks for being
Welcome.
on.
I'll be back.
We're going to do this again. Hopefully, we'll do it again right before the Stipe fight if anything changes and we get new. We'll obviously, after WrestleMania, we'll have new news on Brock and stuff. So,
We just look for a reason to do these, so don't worry.
yeah, I mean, we'll have WrestleMania. We'll be having new news after that, depending on, and we'll know where Brock's direction is after that, depending on how the fight goes with Roman Reigns. So,
Yeah.
we'll come back with new information the next week after that, hopefully. And thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and give us a rating. See you next time.